Well, we'll get started. So, welcome to Hatha Yoga tonight. I'm Krista. I'm going to guide your practice. Thank you for joining me. And just want to take a moment to remind everyone that the most important thing you can do here is to listen to your body and your breath and make choices that really feel safe for your body, that feel like you can breathe through the postures and the options you pick. So this is an all levels class, and I'll give lots of options throughout the whole class. So you can listen to those, you can try them, and you can always go back to a previous one until you feel like kind of progressing in those choices. So we'll just start coming to a comfortable seat. That could mean lots of different things. Maybe for you, you're sitting cross-legged, or perhaps you want to lean against the wall, or maybe you'd rather kneel. You could also have one or both legs extended. And placing your hands on your knees, let's turn our palms upwards and take Chin Mudra, allowing the thumb and pointer finger to connect. The other fingers are extended. So our fingers have representations in yoga, and that pointer finger represents our individual self. Sometimes that is called like the ego self or the small self. The thumb represents the universal self, Brahman, consciousness. So you can even place the tip of your thumb gently over top of the tip of your pointer finger, and that can help remind us to kind of bow to that universal energy that we've been talking about tonight. You could close your eyes if you'd like, or feel free to keep a soft gaze. And we'll start with just a short body scan, noticing your face and jaw relaxing. Feel your spine nice and long. Let your shoulders melt. Let your arms, elbows, and hands be heavy. And your breath is full and slow and soft. Relax your midsection, your rib cage, and also your hips and legs, just kind of scanning down into your lower body and see if you can relax a little bit more there. Let your lower body become heavy in the earth. And taking a moment to focus on your breathing, conscious breath awareness. For our practice tonight, you can set your own intention if there's something you're working with, or feel free to join the collective intention, which is just peace of mind or peaceful presence. Anytime during class that you might get distracted from your practice, try to come back. Join your mind and your breath together again. And notice where your mind is at. If you find yourself thinking about anything that doesn't really serve you here in this moment, bring it back to peace. Maybe you repeat the Sanskrit word shanti or peace. Or you can play around with swapping thoughts. So if you notice you're thinking of something that is not peaceful, how can you make it peaceful? How can you swap your perspective and bring in more peace to your mind? So with that, we have the option to open up our class with one Om together. You're more than welcome to join in on this mantra if you'd like, or you can just listen. To me, this mantra represents universal harmony, and it can help just to kind of create a more peaceful energy within ourselves and our group for the class. Let's start with a cleansing breath. And then we can inhale for Om or just listen. Om. Now staying connected with our intention and the full yogic breathing, the relaxed body and mind. We'll do some pranayama, some breathing exercises. The first one is 3-part yogic breath. So if you'd like, you can bring one hand down to rest on your low belly, and the other hand maybe comes to your chest. And that way you can feel that as you inhale, you bring the breath down into your belly, and then your ribs will expand, and then maybe your chest will expand at the top. And as you exhale, release the breath back out, chest, ribs, and then belly draws in. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest and shoulders. And exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. And then take a few of these on your own, finding your own rhythm and pace and noticing that you're breathing through your nose as much as possible. Face is still relaxed. Now what we can do next is we can add a little retention here. So keep breathing fully while I talk about this. Retention is where we pause and hold the breath. At first, we're just going to do 6 counts. So it's pretty short and it is safe for pretty much everyone to do. But if you don't feel comfortable holding your breath, then that's okay. Just honor that and take a full yogic breath instead of the retention. We're going to do 3 in a row and I'll guide you through this. You can leave your hands on your torso or bring them back down. And we'll start with another cleansing breath in and out through your nose. And then let's inhale to about 3/4 lung capacity and hold your breath there. Constrict your airways. While you're holding your breath, relax your body. 3, 2, 1. Now exhale. And take another inhale. And exhale, release all the air out of your lungs. We're going to try a bottom breath retention. So pause there at the bottom of your breath with no air in your lungs. Your belly might snap in just a little bit. 2, 1. Now inhale smoothly. And exhale. Last retention. Inhale to 3/4 lungs. Holding your breath there. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you can exhale and return to normal breathing. Just notice how you feel. I'll introduce Anuloma Viloma next. This is alternate nostril breathing. If you're already familiar, you're welcome to just kind of stay in this Zen state, full breathing and having your eyes closed. If you're newer to Anuloma Viloma, you might open your eyes and I'll kind of walk you through how it works. So we're going to be using our fingers to open and close our nostrils. We'll alternate from left to right. And there is a retention involved. We'll do a few of these retentions in between. And these are 12 count retentions. So they are a little bit longer. So that means if you don't feel comfortable holding your breath a little bit longer, again, just take a full breath instead. Some of the reasons that you might choose to do that could be if you have like really high or really low blood pressure, if you're pregnant, or if it just generally doesn't feel right for you to hold your breath tonight, then honor that once more. So you're going to take your right hand, bring your pointer and middle finger to your third eye, resting them there. The other fingers are extended at first, and you can take a moment to massage your third eye a few times, one direction and then the other. And then rest your fingers there at that energy center and inhale through both nostrils. Now use your thumb to close your right nostril as you exhale through the left side. Inhale through the left nostril for 3 counts. 2, 1. Use your ring finger and thumb to hold both airways closed. Hold your breath. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift the thumb, exhale right. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale right. 3, 2, 1. Retain. 12, 11, 10. As you're holding the breath, relax your body. Exhale left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale left. 3, 2, 1. Retaining. 12. Peaceful mind. Exhale right. Inhale right. 3, 2, 1. Retain. Final retention here. Relax your body, relax your mind. Om. And when you're ready, exhale through the left side. Let all the air leave through your left nostril. And after that, you can let your hand come back down to your knees or your lap, just taking a few breaths, noticing the effects of this pranayama. This one is a balancing pranayama, slightly emphasizing the lunar nature, a little bit cooling, a little relaxing for our Hatha practice. And now when you're ready, you can gently blink your eyes open and we'll do our seated warm-up. So let your arms come down alongside your hips as you exhale, and then inhaling, sweep your arms out and up along your ears. Options to have your hands separated or bring the palms together. Knit your rib cage in a little bit there. Lengthen the back of your neck, noticing your midline. On an exhale, release your right hand down along your hip. We can inhale to stretch through the left side and then exhale, bend over to the side here. You can stay in an upright side bend, really stretching along that left side body, bending the right elbow as much as you need to deepen the stretch. Or you could take that top hand and rest it down on your right knee, and this is just a little bit more of a gentle option. You can even let your head and neck hang heavy for this last breath if that feels best in your practice right now. On the next inhale, start to lift upwards through both arms and exhale the left hand down. Take a moment to inhale and lengthen through the right side, and then exhale, bending it over to the side. 3 to 5 breaths here. You can tuck your chin a little bit and look upwards. You can stay upright and really emphasize that side bend, or take the top hand and rest it on your opposite knee, feeling free to let your head and neck hang heavy for a little bit more of a restorative choice. Last exhale together. And then inhale to rise back up, leading with your hands, gazing up. As we exhale, we're going to fold forward. Options for arms along ears, a little more challenging, or hands through heart. Walk your hands along the ground to fold. 3 to 5 breaths, starting to stretch into our hips. Option to really round your spine and your neck. You could also sway a little bit in your torso. One more exhale together when you're ready. And then inhale to rise back up. Same thing, hands can come through heart or arms up alongside your ears as you lift upwards, looking upwards. Exhale, put your hands behind you, right under your shoulders. Try to face your fingers away from your hips. And then inhale, lift your chest up toward the sky. Point your shoulder blades together, take a back bend. Option to stay there, or maybe you want to lift your hips off the ground there. Feel free. And the last option, if you're up for it, could be to start releasing your gaze back, get a little stretch into your neck. One more inhale together. And exhale, release your hips back to the ground. Take a moment to change the crossing of your legs. So bring your opposite leg on top or in front. Inhale with me as we reach toward the sky, gazing up. And exhale to twist to the right. So your right hand comes behind you, left hand to right knee. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, gently turning your gaze back. Just a few breaths here as we warm up our spine. One more exhale when you're ready, and then inhale to unwind back through center. Gaze follows the hands. Exhale, twist the other way. Inhale, lengthen, maybe looking forward for a moment, and then exhale, turning, engage through your core as you turn your gaze back for just a couple breaths. When you're ready, unwind on an inhale, lifting the arms once more, and then we'll fold again. So hands can come through heart, or maybe arms stay up along the ears. As you walk your hands out, you might take a moment to lengthen through your spine, and then we can fold with the exhale. If you feel any tension in your knees, a couple things you can do. Flex your toes toward the ground and lift your torso until that tension is relieved, that pain is relieved. And you really don't want to push through knee pain, so always make accommodation when you feel that. We'll take a couple extra breaths on this side, since this is probably the tighter side for most of us. We tend to sit down first on the side that's easier, the hip that's a little more open. So when we switch our legs, we might find what feels like a bigger stretch on the side. One more exhale when you're ready. And then use the inhale to lift back up. Your arms can lift as well as you gaze upwards. And exhaling, bringing the hands down under your shoulders. Lean back on the hands. Open your chest. Look upwards. Again, you could lift your hips up off the ground if you want. You can also turn your gaze back to stretch your neck. And just one or two more breaths here. Then when you're ready, tucking your chin, come back to seated. And we'll take a moment to find tabletop. So maybe you want to roll right over your knees, or perhaps it feels better to kind of kick your feet off to the side. Feel free to add some padding. So maybe you want to add a blanket under your knees or under your wrists. Coming at the table, so all fours with your wrists stacked right under your shoulders, your hips right over top of your knees. And take a moment to engage your core. Draw your belly button up toward your spine, reaching the crown of head forward, the tailbone back as you do. Feeling how strong your back is right now. Taking another breath or two here. And then on an exhale, sinking your hips back to your heels for our first Savasana, child's pose. You can extend your arms forward if you'd like, or you can stack your hands and rest your forehead on your hands. You can also add a bolster under your hips or under your torso to relieve any knee pain, hip pain, back pain. Make sure you prop yourself up on a cushion if you're feeling that. And then child's pose or balasana. Actually, I recently heard a yoga teacher call this wisdom pose, which I thought was so lovely. Take a moment to remind yourself that this is our first resting option in yoga. You can always come here during practice if you need a break. Listen to the wisdom of your body and the wisdom of your heart, and Remembering that sometimes it's more important to know when to slow down and take a break than when to push harder and stronger. So feel free to do this whenever you need to, or you can always take a different option of your own if there's something else that feels more like a break for you. Last exhale together when you're ready. And then on the inhale, we'll start to push into hands and knees and rise back through table, finding that strong alignment with your hips right over your knees, keeping that stacking of your joints. And then you can walk your hands forward. We're going to do puppy pose right here in the beginning of class. If you'd like, you can put a block or 2 blocks under your head. We're going to try to keep our hips over our knees as we lower our head to the blocks or to the ground. Just 3 to 5 breaths here, thinking about drawing your shoulder blades in and letting your heart melt to the ground. If you want a more active posture, you can come up onto your fingertips. If you want a more passive posture, you can relax your forearms and your hands into the ground. One more exhale when you're ready. And then on the inhale, pushing into hands and knees, walking your hands back in towards your body, placing your hands near the front of your mat, about shoulder width or a little wider, and spreading your fingers out wide. Engage your core as you curl your toes under, and with an exhale, see if you can send your hips back and up into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. When we first arrive, we can do some paddling of the knees. If you need a break, you can always come back down to table or balasana. And then when you're ready, we'll scan the posture for alignment. So making this nice triangular shape on your mat, fingers are spread wide as we cup our hands on to the ground. Take a little bend in your elbows, and that'll create some space for your shoulders to roll away from your ears. And then you can let your head and neck hang heavy, rocking it, nodding yes or no. Draw your belly button in and reach your tailbone toward the ceiling. And then engage your core, engage your thighs and stretch your heels toward the ground. It doesn't matter one bit if your heels touch the ground. We're just trying to stretch the backs of the legs. One more exhale together. And then inhale, let your right leg float back and up, pointing your toes straight down at first, and then making a mindful choice when you're ready. Bend your knee and roll your hip to stack, twisting into your body on an exhale. Just 3 breaths in this twist. Try to keep equal weight in your hands, level shoulders. Maybe you lift your knee a little higher with this next inhale and twist a little more deeply as you exhale. And then inhale, extend your leg, and exhale to lower it down. You can take 3 breaths in down dog or child's pose, and then we'll do the twist on the other side. Finding that final exhale when you're ready. Meeting back in down dog. If down dog feels like too much, you can also do these twists from tabletop too. On an inhale, lift your left leg. At first, your toes will point straight down because you're going to make a mindful decision to bend the knee and twist open. So this is what it looks like in table, or if you're in down dog. And just a couple more breaths here. You could try gazing under your right arm and see those toes. Give yourself a little wave. One more exhale. Inhaling to straighten your leg, and exhale, lower your foot down. Now we'll inhale, gaze to the top of our mats, and exhale, walk your feet up there, or you can walk your hands back until we find forward fold. So you might be kind of toward the top half or the top of your mat here. Feet are hip distance and parallel. Checking in with your feet. Feel free to stack up some blocks to place your hands on, or you can wrap your hands on opposite elbows. Feel free to do a little swaying here. For our first couple breaths in forward fold, making sure the head is hanging heavy. Perhaps an open mouth exhale might feel helpful. And coming to neutral when you're ready, finding a little stillness there as you push into your feet. Bend your knees deeply on an exhale. And then inhale, slowly rolling up to stack your spine vertebra by vertebra. Coming up to standing mountains. Take your time slowly to get there. Let your palms open forward as you find your standing posture. We'll take a couple of breaths here and then move into our classical, very traditional Shivananda sun salutations. Before we do, just taking one more breath to scan through mountain, feeling the strength, the groundedness through your feet, the uplifting energy through your body, the strength. Your muscles are active, even though we're just standing here. So we'll take the first sun sal slower to introduce it, and then we'll move breath synchronized. Inhale with me when you're ready. And exhale, hands come to the heart center. Inhale, lift those arms up. Take a little back bend here. So noticing your hips are still right over your feet, and then you're lifting up through your chest as you gaze up and gently curving the spine back without caving the low back. Keep lifting your heart as you do. You could gaze upward. One more inhale. As we exhale, we'll fold down again. Arms can be along ears, or for a more gentle transition, hands through heart center to fold. And then you can plant your hands. Feel free to use blocks or just put them on the ground and step your right foot back into a lunge. And in this lunge, you get to choose to have your knee either lifted or lowered. It's up to you. If you lower the knee down, you might come to the top of your foot. We'll pause here for 3 to 5 breaths. So if you want to try both of those options and then decide which one feels most helpful for your practice, feel free. If the knee is lowered, you're going to get a little more of a hip stretch, whereas if the knee is lifted, it'll be a little more in the hamstrings. One more exhale together. And then let's inhale to step back into plank. So in plank, anytime I call plank, your options are for the knees to be lifted or lowered. It's up to you. But you want to try to have a straight line from knees, hips, shoulders to head. And really engage through your core. The gaze is straight down on your mat. One more inhale together, and then exhale through worm pose. So the knees, chest, and chin will lower. The elbows are in tight to the side body. We're making a W shape in our bodies. Elbows are like little cricket legs there. A beautiful thoracic spine bend. When you're ready to exhale again, plant the tops of your feet and your pelvis, and then inhale, peel your chest forward and up, drawing your elbows together in a little tiny cobra. A little back bend here. There's very little weight in your hands. Your spinal extensors, the muscles of your back body are lifting you. One more inhale. As we exhale, we can roll through wisdom pose or go straight into down dog. It's up to you. And then when we get to down dog, or you could be in tabletop, we'll step the right foot through into lunge on the other side. So you might need to use your hand to guide it. And again, you get to decide if the back knee is down or up. But you might want to just decide whether you're going to have that knee lifted or lowered from now on, mirroring whatever you did on the first side, perhaps. Lift your gaze a little bit, open your heart forward as we inhale. And then when you're ready to exhale, we'll step forward into a fold. On the inhale, we'll start to rise up, hands through heart or arms along ears, and we'll find that extended mountain again with the back bend, looking up toward the sky. Exhale, hands through heart, finding Tadasana, mountain with our arms alongside our hips. And now we'll move breath synchronized. Inhale together, exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, lift up, take that back bend, but with stability. Exhale, folding toward the ground. Plant your hands, left foot steps back on an inhale, and then we'll retain the breath into plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin lower down to worm. Inhale, cobra. Good job. Exhale, find down dog. Feel free to take a break in wisdom pose. Inhale, left foot comes through into lunge. Exhale, right foot forward to fold as we exhale, and then inhale, rising up and lifting up into that extended back bend. Exhale, hands through heart into mountain. We'll just do that one more time. Inhale, exhale, hands to heart. Anjali Mudra. Inhale, Uttita Tadasana, extended mountain back bend. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, right foot back into lunge, Ashva Sanchalasana. Retain your breath into plank, Chaturanga. Exhale, worm, Ashtanga Namaskara. Inhale, cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, right foot through, lunge, Ashva Sanchalasana. Exhale, left foot forward to fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, rising up, Uttita Tadasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Beautiful. So our warm-up is now complete. We're going to use the sun sal to step into some standing poses, and we'll hold them for 10 to 15 breaths in the Hatha tradition. Inhaling with me, and exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, rise up, take your extended back bend in mountain, and exhale to fold. This time the left foot steps back and we'll stay in a high lunge. Gazing forward, try to find a drishti point, something you can look at that's not moving. And then with an inhale, see if you can lift your torso up toward crescent. So hands could come to the front thigh or to your hips, or maybe all the way up along your ears. And drishti is going to be really important here. So that's for balance. Keep focused on one point on the horizon. One more exhale with me. Inhale, straighten your front leg, turn your body to the side as you plant the back foot, and then exhale into warrior two. Awesome. So this is a strong posture. We're going to hold it for 10 to 15 breaths. The back foot is grounding through the outer edge. Your arch is lifting, your toes are relaxed. Front knee stacked right over the ankle. And in fact, if you look down, you'll see your big toe peeking out. And that's how you know it's in alignment. Tuck your pelvis a little bit, lengthen through your crown of head, and then feel your arms active and strong as you reach your fingertips apart, gazing toward the horizon. Humble, peaceful warrior. Just a couple more breaths here using your full yogic breathing. Really nice alignment, focus. One more inhale with me when you're ready. Exhale, hands to heart. And you can just toe heel that back foot up a few steps, letting both of your legs straighten. You're still going to plant the back foot so that it's angled in. So your heel is further back than your toes. When you're ready, inhale, extend your arms, sliding forward, and exhale to find triangle. So the right hand can come to your shin, or you could use a block or two blocks. The left hand, the top hand can be on your hip, or you can reach it toward the sky. Gaze can be straight ahead or up toward the ceiling. Make sure that front thigh is engaged and you have a micro bend in your knee so it's not locked. Very nice. If you need a little more help with the balance, look down instead. You can always come out of the pose a little bit. Try to lengthen through both side bodies. You could separate, railroad track your feet, come back into it. So do what you need to do to find stability and still feel like you're getting a nice stretch with proper alignment. 3 more breaths here, noticing all the angles, the shapes you've created in your body here in Trikonasana. Noticing if you're holding in your neck, just lengthen it, let your shoulders come away from your ears. As you exhale, look down. Inhale, rise up, reversing the triangle. Good, 1 breath. And then exhale, windmill down and step back. Find your plank pose again. This will be our last one we do. With an exhale, find worm. Knees, chest, and chin. Inhale for cobra. And exhaling for down dog. Inhale, the left foot comes through. Feel free to use your hand to guide it. Exhale for a moment, looking forward to find your drishti, and then inhale, rise up. Hands can plant on the thigh, on your hips, or up alongside your ears. We're just here for a few moments to find our balance, our strength, and then when you're ready, inhale, straighten the front leg, turn your body to the side as you plant your back foot down, and exhale, extend your arms, bending into that front knee, warrior 2. If this feels a little bit unbalanced or like it's too difficult right now, then you can always shorten your stance. So you can walk the back foot in a little bit, and then it might feel a little more easeful. So we want to find these postures as much as possible, finding some balance between strength and softness. That's where we'll get the most benefit of our yoga. So be kind to yourself if you need to make an adjustment. Be intuitive. Be embodied. And this becomes a really holistic and healing practice. For this last breath, if you want to challenge, maybe you just try closing your eyes and notice how that affects the balance. And then 1 more inhale. Exhale, bring your hands to heart and bring that back foot up a little ways, maybe a foot or 2. Still keeping the toes angled in further than the heel. Inhale, extend your arms and reach forward once more to find triangle. So again, you can make your stance wider if you need more stability here. You can use a block under your hand. We're trying to turn our torso to the side and stack the hips and shoulders. The goal is not to touch the floor, but really to get a nice stretch along the right side body. So choose your arm placement based on what feels accessible for you right now. Your gaze could be down, forward, or upwards. I'm going to just have a couple more breaths here. On your last exhale, gazing down, and then use the in-breath to rise up and reverse. Reverse the triangle as you gaze up. And then we'll exhale to windmill, the hands down, step forward to fold. Hanging heavy here for a few breaths, shaking out your head and neck a little bit. Awesome. And then bending your knees. Hands can come through heart or up alongside the ears as we rise up for extended mountain. And then exhale, hands through heart, regular mountain. And take a moment to maybe shake out your hands, maybe do some spinal rotations here, kick your feet, perhaps grabbing a water. And we're going to do some balance work now. So for whatever reason, sometimes it's nice to find a different spot to stand when we do our balance. So if there's somewhere on or off your mat, you'd like to stand. You can also use the wall for this. So if you're going to use the wall, turn so that your left hand is toward the wall. We have 3 balance postures in a row. It can be kind of a challenging sequence. If it feels like too much, just take a break at any time. Start by grounding through your feet. Maybe look down, relax your toes. And then feel yourself ground, especially into your left foot. I always love to bring the hands to heart center right away. That helps to find the midline. And then also find your drishti, the one point that's not moving. And then on an inhale, the right knee bends out to the side. We're setting up for tree. We can kickstand the heel on the ankle, or you can bring your foot to the inner calf, or maybe you want to bring it up above your knee to the inner thigh. It's up to you. Just make sure you're not pushing into your knee with your foot, and then hands might come back toward one another or together. And we have 5 to 7 breaths total, so you can stay as you are, or maybe you decide to grow your branches. You can find any expression of tree, whatever you feel, whatever kind of a tree you are today, growing in the forest of yogis. Drishti can stay just gently focused there. Just a couple more breaths here. Still breathing deeply, still a soft mind. And then on your next exhale, bring your right hand behind your body and try and see if you can release that foot and kick it into your hand behind you. The left hand can come forward, or it could be on the wall. And right away, bring your knees together to square your hips, kind of flexing those lifted toes against your hand to protect your knee. You can stay upright, or you can start to hinge forward into dancer pose, Natarajasana. So your drishti will move down on the horizon as you move, or you could start to look at the ground. Just a few more breaths here. We're actually going for kind of a back bend in this posture, making a big U shape through the lifted part of your body. See if you can take one more mindful inhale, and then maybe with the exhale, release that. And perhaps you find standing splits. Hands can come to blocks or to the ground. Try to keep that back leg lifted, but if needed, you can tap the toes down to take a break. The gaze is now at your standing foot or at your mat, and the right leg is lifting up as we fold through the torso. That lifted foot is active and flexed a little bit through the pad. If you want an extra challenge for this last breath, maybe you bring your hands to standing leg. One more inhale, and exhale, lower the foot down. You can take a wide stance if you want. Take some time, take a break, 5 to 7 breaths. Just roll your body from side to side. You can bend one knee and then the other. You can shake out the head and neck. You could do an open mouth exhale. Coming to stillness. When you're ready, maybe bringing your legs a little closer together. Bend your knees and roll up mindfully back to standing. That is a journey into balance. It's a very strengthening sequence. So if you do this one regularly, you'll find a huge amount of improvement in a short amount of time. So if you're using the wall, you want to turn now so your right hand is toward the wall, and we'll do those same 3 postures in a row. Start by grounding through your right foot. Hands can come to heart. Focus your drishti. And then the left knee will bend and open, kickstanding the foot perhaps. You could stay there, or maybe you lift the foot to the calf. You could stay there, you could go back to the ground, or maybe you want to try bringing the foot to your inner thigh. Awesome. Yeah, I'm moving here and having some fun with this. As we explore for a few more breaths, you can change your arms. If you fall out of it, it's okay. It's just life. Everything is always moving. In fact, we're all zipping through the universe at thousands of miles per hour. as we're just thrown through the sky on this earth, this planet we call Earth, and yet here we are trying to be still. Take a moment to honor that kind of humanity, that constant flow of life, maybe looking upwards. And then exhale, hands come through heart. Left hand comes behind us. See if we can kick that foot into the hand. The right hand could come forward, or it could be resting on the wall. Bring your knees together right away. Flex your toes into your hand, and then if you want, you can start shifting forward into dancer. Maybe your gaze comes toward the ground. Couple more breaths there. You might feel this, noticing where you might feel the sensation of stretching. Maybe it's your quadriceps, maybe it's your shoulder, somewhere else, just noticing. And then as you're ready, you can release and perhaps moving towards standing splits, fingers coming down, legs staying lifted. You can always take a break. Remember that. Just a few breaths here, keeping the top foot slightly active through the pad of your foot. Gazes down towards your standing leg or foot. And if you want an extra challenge, you can try bringing one or both of your hands to that standing leg. One more inhale, maybe two more. And then on the exhale, lowering your foot down and take a nice break again. You can sway. You can release head and neck, whatever you need to do. Maybe a little sigh. Oh, yeah. Do a horse neigh, horse shake through the lips. There's so many things that can help us to release tension. On an inhale, start to roll up to standing. And find the top of your mat. When you get there, bring your big toes together, and you can have your hands together at heart center. See if you can engage through your thighs and lift one or both heels off the mat. We're going to try a slide transition, but if this bothers your knees or any part of your body at any time, just come down to seated in your own way. That's where we'll be going next. If you would like to try this transition, then maybe your heels stay lifted as you start to slide your hips down toward them. When you get to the bottom, you could try reaching your fingertips toward the ground or hugging your arms around your shins. Maybe your forehead comes to the knees, making a little ball, and taking a big breath into your back. And then on your next exhale, use your hands to guide yourself to seated, and then you can lay all the way down on your back. And we get to take our first mini Savasana. So just kind of spreading out on your mat. It's only about 10 to 15 breaths, but this is a common addition for our traditional Hatha classes. It was given to us by Swami Shivananda. It's a wonderful time just to relax and absorb the work we've done so far before we move into the second half. Relax, relax, relax. Now starting to move a little bit into your fingers and toes. Bring your hands closer to your side bodies and plant them with the palms down. Straight arms alongside your body, flexing your ankles, your thighs, squeezing your legs together. We'll do some leg lifts next. On an inhale, bend your right knee and then extend it toward the sky. As you exhale, bend your knee and release it back down. Yeah, and knowing that if it's too much to have your legs straight, you can also have the feet planted instead. We'll try the left knee now. Inhale, bend your knee and lift your heel. Exhale, bend and lower your leg. Again, you can have your feet planted or your legs straight. And we'll try that one more time on each side. Inhale, bend the right knee and lift it up. Exhale, bend your knee and lower it down. Inhale, bend the left knee and lift. Exhale, bend and lower. So definitely, if you're having any back pain, you definitely want to keep your feet planted through these movements. Also, bending the knee on the way up and down is a great way to help with not overdoing it, the weight on our spine. So we're trying to just kind of decrease the amount of weight we're asking our back to move if we're having any sense of maybe a little bit of pain or weakness around our back. If you're feeling pretty strong in your back today, then you can try straightening both legs and keeping the legs straight as you lift and lower. So let's take a few moments to explore leg lifts on our own. So you'll inhale, lift the right leg up and lower it in your own way using those options I just gave. Inhale, left leg lifts and lowers. And as you do these movements, try to focus most on keeping your pelvis stable. You can use the strength of your arms, you can engage your pelvic floor, engage your core, and just doing a couple more on each side. Knowing that whichever option you're choosing to explore is perfect. Because it's the choice you're making right now, which means it's the right choice. All right, and then when you're ready, we'll meet with the right leg lifted. The left foot can be planted or it can be straight out on the ground. And then we're going to walk our hands up the back of that lifted leg. You could use a strap on your foot or you can simply clasp your hands anywhere on the back of the leg or the foot. Just make sure you're not pulling against your knee. Maybe taking a moment to open your elbows and lift your torso a little bit higher as you inhale. And then keeping this hamstring stretch, we'll exhale and lower the torso down to really feel it. 10 to 15 breaths here. Feel free to roll out your foot and ankle if you would like. And we're just breathing into the hamstrings, asking the right hamstrings to lengthen. Yeah. Try to slow your breath down a little bit more. Almost visualize like you're bringing your breath into the hamstrings, asking them to relax, lengthen. One more inhale. And then exhale, bend your knee and draw it down towards your chest using your hands. You can rock your hip out a little bit if you'd like. Good. Awesome. I love all the different options I'm seeing be taken. That means we're being embodied, we're being mindful and intuitive. When you're ready, extend the leg down or plant it. Plant your foot on the earth, whatever feels right for you. And then we'll do the left side. So lift the left leg up, extending through your heel. Walk your hands up there, or you can use a strap. Just make sure you're not pulling the back of your knee. The leg that's on the ground, if it's extended, it's active. The toes are pointing straight up. We're gazing upwards. You could lift up through your torso for a couple breaths and open your elbows to the sides. And then allow your torso to become like an anchor against this hamstring stretch. Feeling free to roll out your foot and ankle if you'd like. As we breathe into this muscle group, asking them to just lengthen, to open up. The right leg is a little active, so if it's extended, your thigh is active. If it's planted, you're just kind of pushing down through your foot a little bit. A few more breaths on your own. One more big inhale together. And then on the exhale, bend your knee, draw it down towards your chest. You can rock out your hip if you'd like. Let's take an inhale and do a full body stretch together. And then on the exhale, hug your knees into your chest, both of them. Uttanasana, one of the best postures for low back pain, any kidney issues, sacrum weakness can be really helped with this pose as we put pressure down on that sacrum bone, on the kidneys, and you can rock a little bit here from side to side. Then we're going to be moving up to seated next. So you could do a rock and roll transition if you'd like, or if that doesn't feel right in your body, then just roll onto one side and push yourself up to seated. So rock and roll is going to be clasping the backs of your thighs and rolling. You can do a couple of those to feel a little massage in your back. And when we get to seated, we'll do some boat pose now. We already talked about how boat is both a balance and strength, core strengthening posture. Our feet will be planted out kind of toward the top of our mat. Our hips are about halfway up the mat. That's perfect. Hands can come to the backs of the legs. And then push your chest forward and straighten your spine. So we want to try to keep that straight spine in a yoga boat. It's a little different than Pilates boat. You can keep this posture, or if you want to make it more of a core exercise, perhaps you release your hands out parallel to the ground. The next option might be to maybe lift one or both of your shins. Just know you can always go back. Try to do that with control if you need to go back at any time. Just exploring. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Wrap around your shins. Forehead to the knees, rounding your back. Inhale, push your chest forward and look upwards. Exhale, rounding the back. And then inhaling to neutral. Lift your right arm along your ear. And exhale, string it under to clasp your left foot. So it goes under your knees and clasp your opposite ankle. Bring it through. So you're trying to bring that left ankle to your right hip. Now see if you can take the top foot up and over. Now if that is just not happening, that's okay. Instead, you can straighten the bottom leg, and then you should be able to have both of your hips planted. So option to have that bottom leg, the left leg straight like this, or it could be tucked in. That's going to be a little bit of a deeper twist and hip stretch. Inhale. See if you can lift your arms up along your ears. And exhale, twist to the right. So the right hand comes behind you. The left elbow can hook around the outside of that top knee. The back hand is like a second spine. We're thinking inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist, gently gazing back. Level shoulders, open heart. We have 10 to 15 breaths total here, so taking some time. If you want to try some different variations, you can make it a little bit more gentle by actually releasing your head and neck. You can just let them hang heavy. Or if you want to make this a deeper twist, then you'll lift your head and neck and you'll straighten that top arm. Maybe you want to try reaching for the bind, bringing it through the triangle of your knee. Maybe the back arm reaches toward. 2 more breaths wherever you are. And then last exhale. Use your inhale to unwind, lifting up. We'll twist the other way just for a moment, just taking a counter twist the other direction. You got it. Everyone looks great here. You can always do something a little different, especially if you're dealing with any body stuff tonight, just making accommodations for your body, doing what you need to do. Now pick up that top leg and rock it out. We're going to do a hip stretch next. So there's two options for the hip stretch. I'm going to actually show this from the deepest stretch to the more gentle stretch. So you're welcome to watch first and then decide. The deepest stretch tonight is going to be stacked fire log. So you'll bring the bottom shin forward a little bit so that when you stack, when you place your right ankle over your knee will also be stacked right over top of your ankle. So the shins are the logs and they're stacked up. Now, if you try that and it doesn't feel right in your body, then you can do figure four instead. And you can do figure four seated, but really I prefer it on the back. So you can also lay down for figure four with your right ankle over the left thigh. So finding your hip stretch of choice. You can always add some padding if you are in stacked fire log. Maybe you want to put a block or a blanket under your knee. And if you are doing stacked fire log, the options could be to stay upright in your torso or maybe to fold. I'm going to take a nice 10 to 15 breaths because we really need at least a minute in our hip stretches to help these really deep and dense tissues start to open. It's the biggest joint of our bodies. It takes a little more time. And so in your hip stretch tonight, I invite you to be present with yourself. Scanning through and asking your body to relax. And staying connected to your breath. And then maybe bringing your awareness back to your heart or your third eye. Finding that peaceful presence, a peaceful state of mind. About 3 to 5 more breaths. Maybe you deepen into it. Maybe you're able to relax somewhere that is gripping. And just noticing this feeling, your experience, your body in this moment, your breath. And let's take 1 or 2 more exhales when you're ready. And then use the inhale to come back towards seated. So if you're in fire log, you can roll up to seated. If you're on figure four, you can also roll up from the ground to seated, and then we'll paddle out our legs. We're going to do that same mini sequence on the other side. So we'll start with boat again. Now you can stay right here. This is a great posture for strengthening. In fact, you can even bring your hands along your hips. Just engage your core and you will get stronger, even if it doesn't feel like a huge movement. Now, if you want to take it further, maybe you lift your shins. Perhaps your arms come parallel with the ground. You could maybe explore straightening the legs tonight, or perhaps the hands come to heart. One more inhale. And then exhale, hugging around the knees again, rounding your back. Inhale, push your chest forward as you look up. And exhale, forehead to knees. Inhale to seated as you lift your left arm up. Exhale, bring it under to clasp opposite ankle and draw it toward your left hip. Top foot can come up and over with the option to straighten that bottom leg if needed to help get both sitting bones on the ground. This might be enough. Remember, this is a nice piriformis stretch, right? We learned about that in anatomy on our last weekend. If this is enough, stay where you are. If you want to add the twist, then inhale, arms up. Exhale, twist to the left this time. Hooking your elbow. The left hand comes back behind you like a second spine. Keep thinking, inhale, lengthen. And exhale, twist, gazing back 10 to 15 breaths. If you need something a little more gentle, a little more passive, just release your chest, stretching the back of your neck and your shoulders. If you want something more active, then you'll lift your gaze, turn it back again, and then you could straighten the top arm, or maybe you want to reach for that bind on this side. Just a few more breaths here. Level shoulders, as much as possible, equal weight in your hips, your sitting bones. Last exhale together. And then inhaling to unwind, lifting your arms up. Exhale, twist the other way, bringing your hands down, bending your elbows deeply, releasing head and neck. Inhale back to seated and picking up the left leg to rock it out. Now you get to choose again, stacked fire log or figure four. You can lay on your back for figure four if you'd like, with the left ankle over the right thigh. Choose your hip stretch of choice, whatever feels like the most accessible, the most helpful for you. Feeling free to add padding under the knee or a block there. You can stay upright in figure four, in stacked fire log, or you can fold. Breathing in 10 to 15 breaths. Relax your body. Focus on your breath. Let your mind be peaceful. Sometimes in these postures, our mind really might start to chatter to us about some of our worries or our anxieties, or even our emotions could start to flow. Can you observe whatever comes, like a peaceful observer, a conscious watcher? And let it flow. Let it flow with your breath. Let it flow with your intent. Last breath or two. Maybe deepening the stretch, maybe relaxing some tension a little deeper in your hips or anywhere else in your body. You may feel it. And then on an inhale, coming back in your own way to seated. Lean back on your hands. We'll paddle out our legs. We're going to come onto our bellies next. So a couple different ways you can get there. If you're feeling a little tired this evening, ready to start winding down, just lie down on your belly. If you want an extra challenge, you could take a high to low plank with knees up or down, maybe hovering at the bottom before releasing down. And bring your chin to center. Actually, bring one ear to the mat at first and rest your arms along your hips and take a few moments to just let yourself settle in on your belly. You can always bend your knees and windshield wiper your feet. That can really help if your back feels a little tight or sore as you change to this placement, this prone placement, belly down. And then releasing your legs back to the mat for a moment, bring your chin to neutral, turn your palms in toward your side bodies, and exhale, bend your knees. Option to do this freehand or bound. So we're going to do floor bow, and you can either do it without actually clasping your ankles like this, or you can reach back and clasp the feet or ankles. So it's up to you. I'm going to demonstrate the freehand version. Take a big exhale with me, and then inhale, lift up through your chest and maybe your legs too. And we're going to start to rock a little bit here with our breath. If your hands are free, you're reaching your fingertips back, you're lifting your chest. If your hands are clasped, you might be rocking a little bit more as you kick your feet into your hands. Just a couple more breaths here. One more inhale. And then exhale, release everything down. You can let your other ear come to the ground, feeling free to shift your hips from side to side or bend your knees and tick-tock your feet now. And then as you're ready, bring your hands under your shoulders, pushing into your hands and knees as you rise up. Find your way into Balasana. You might need to do a few cats and cows on the way to loosen up after that back bend. And then we'll take a child's pose. Moving into an inversion now. Our peak pose here, our final posture of this inversion option that I'll give is headstand. But don't worry, there are lots of options along the way, and the first one is completely restorative. But I just wanted to say that in case you are already familiar with headstand, you're welcome to go ahead and start moving into it with control, and that'll get you a little extra time in the posture. If this is newer to you, you might just take some time to follow along with the steps that I give in order to make sure you're doing it safely. The first thing I want to offer you is to just do legs up the wall instead of inverting into headstands. So if that's what you would like to do, make your way to a wall, sit real close to it, kick your legs up and lay on your back, and then you'll be getting a passive inversion. And it doesn't put any pressure on the neck, and it's very relaxing. If you want to try headstand, then we have lots of steps along the way. You can pause at any of these steps. So if you're trying headstand, we come from child's pose. We look up at our hands and we wrap them around opposite elbows to find the proper distance of our elbows under our shoulders. From there, we bring our hands forward and interlace them with the pinky side down. The thumbs are straight up toward the sky, making like a little support there. Yeah. Lift your hips up and tuck your chin. And at first, you can hover your head above the ground and just practice pushing down through your forearms, drawing shoulders away from the ears. And then at some point, you might feel comfortable releasing your head, the crown of your head, that's the top center of your head, onto the ground so that your hands are clasping the back of your skull. Just keep pushing through your forearms into the ground, drawing your shoulders away from your ears. And you could stay there. That's a great inversion. Or if you want to take it further, curl your toes, lift your hips. You could also stay right there, or you could start walking your feet in towards your face. And at some point, you might start to lift up one or both feet toward the sky. Wherever you are is perfect. Take a couple more breaths before coming back down mindfully with control into Balasana. Now, if you're in legs up the wall, you can stay there for a few moments longer. If you did a headstand variation, find Balasana and take a few breaths. Maybe you try rocking your whole body a little bit from side to side, rolling out your forehead. And then we're all going to lift up and make our way onto our backs. So if you're already legs up the wall, it might be a little quicker for you. Otherwise, if you are doing kneeling, you can just kind of roll over onto your back body. When you first get there, feel free to do a full body stretch or hug your knees in. We have a back bend practice, and we'll do our cool downs into Savasana. So you can start to walk your heels in close to your glutes, planting your feet down to set up for bridge. The arms frame the sides of the body, palms are down. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, feet are parallel here. With an inhale, lift your hips up. Option to clasp your hands and squeeze your shoulder blades together. You could place a block under your sacrum to make this more gentle for supported bridge. You could stay in Setu Bandhasana, this classical bridge, or if you are feeling up for the full wheel back bend, move into it from here by bringing your hands under your shoulders, fingers facing towards your heels, and then it's going to be an inhale to lift up into the full back bend if you're up for it tonight. I don't think anybody's doing the full back bend that I can see, so go ahead and just take a couple more breaths in bridge. And we'll slowly lower down vertebra by vertebra out of the back bend here. You could place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and tick-tock your knees from side to side. Then maybe we hug both knees in, and you could stay there in Uttanasana, or maybe grabbing the outsides of your feet for happy baby. You can rock a little bit as you draw your tailbone toward the ground, draw your shoulders toward the ground. Just a few breaths, releasing our hips, releasing our spine. Then on an inhale, open your arms out to a T with your palms up. Stack your knees right over your hips. And as you exhale, lower your knees to the right for supine twist. Knowing that you can add a blanket under your knees, in between your knees, or both. And another option is to actually slide a blanket under your low back for some extra support. Letting our shoulders melt down, maybe your gaze turns away from your knees. We take our 10 to 15 breaths here as we start to unwind. Last exhale when you're ready. And then inhaling, starting to lift your legs. You can move any props that you might have positioned, and exhale, lower your knees down the other direction. Feeling free to add blanket or bolster under or in between your knees or under your low back, and melting in for 10 to 15 breaths in our final posture here. Scanning through your body, scanning through your mind, and noticing if there's anything lingering that we could still let go of a little bit right now. Maybe there is something worth thinking about that could distract us from final meditation. Maybe there's tension in the body that we can send a big breath toward. Either way, on your next exhale, release it. Relax, bringing in peace. And as you're ready, you can start to lift your knees up again, taking any final movements or postures. If you want a full body stretch, or if you need to cover up with a blanket, we'll make our way into final Savasana. Shift and move a little bit to get very comfortable here. Place your body in a way that you can relax. It could be on your back, or you could rest on your side. You could move to a chair if needed. So you can have a quiet Shavasana. I'm not going to say a whole lot. Just read one short quote from Dennis and Inky's translation of Katha Upanishad. Then I'll pause from talking for a few minutes, give you some time to relax your body and your mind. A final meditation to help you absorb and seal in your practice that you just did tonight. The self forever dwells within the hearts of all. As we start to emerge from this meditation, stay connected with the peacefulness in your heart and in your mind, feeling your peaceful presence, your inner nature. When you're ready to take some bigger breaths, breathe that peaceful prana, that energy into every cell of your body. And when you're ready to wiggle your fingers and toes or roll your head from side to side, do so grounded in that peace. Every little movement be a peaceful movement. Eventually, when you're ready, you can roll onto one side, taking some time in the fetal posture, resting your head on your bicep there. And then imagine that you are water and pushing your top hand into the ground, flow like a river up to a comfortable seat. Feeling free if you'd like to keep your eyes closed or just having a soft gaze as you find a comfortable way to sit for a couple minutes while we close our practice. You could bring your hands to heart center or just resting your hands on your heartbeat. As we move off of our mats and into our world, may we flow like water and yield to the flow of the river, the flow of life, focusing on that flow rather than the turbulence, and letting our peaceful presence be the guide. Make each day, each moment your masterpiece, dreaming the world into being. Let's close with one Om and then Namaste. Om. Namaste.